City News is brought to you by East Brewster Lawyers Rotorua, celebrating 100 years of legal excellence and innovation.
Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Health Minister Tony Ryle has announced the appointed members of the Lakes District Health Board. Students from Lynmore School have shown Christmas spirit by donating food and goods, and applications are open to study netball next year at the New Zealand Sports Academy. Health Minister Tony Ryle has announced the appointed members of the Lakes District Health Board. Each health board consists of up to 11 members. There are 7 elected members and up to 4 appointed members of each DHB. The appointed members of the Lakes DHB for the new term are Derek Shaw, Denny Lawlin, Ian McLean and Tamarapa Lloyd. Mr Shaw has also been reappointed chair, with Mr Lyle Thurston, an elected member, reappointed as deputy chair. Rotorua Boys High School Principal Chris Grinter says the loss of Rotorua-based actor and director Robert Young will be felt hard at the school. Mr Grinter says over the last couple of years, Robert Young has directed the highly successful run of Jesus Christ Superstar, a co-production with Girls High School, and The Buddy Holly Story, which was on in September. Mr Young died on Sunday night at his home in Rotorua, surrounded by family and friends, after losing his battle with prostate cancer. He was 70 years old. His involvement in the Rotorua musical theatre scene goes back more than 40 years, and he was well known for producing high-quality productions and as an inspiration to his students. His funeral will be held at St Mary's Church on Ranulph Street from 1 p.m. Saturday. Everyone is welcome to attend. Students from Lynmore School have shown Christmas spirit by donating food and goods to Te Ranganui or Te Arawa Budget Advisory Service. The gift was made last week, with students also surprising administrators with a $300 cheque. Budget Advisor Marama Rice says the donation is a touching gesture that will be put to good use, helping families at Christmas.
This is fantastic. Let's give back, and it's about the children actually having the opportunity to give at Christmas.
Marama, can you tell me now what the future is going to hold for this program?
Well, I'm really hoping that it continues, and that we can contact other schools within the area. I think there's about 46 schools in Rotorua. So that's, you know, if we're all working together and campaigning for this sort of thing at the end of the year, then hopefully everyone will have a much better Christmas.
In sport tonight, applications are open for young women wanting to study netball next year at the New Zealand Sports Academy. Co-director and founder of the Academy, Jim Love, says the courses on offer next year will be designed and run by ANZ Championship winning coach Nolene Torua. Mr Love says the Academy is excited about Nolene running the program.
Yeah, Nolene's Torua has been brought on board with us, and you know, to us that's fantastic. She's a great lady and she's been there, done that. So for us to produce a good netball program is important for us, and of course she will be a big part of that, and she'll be the director of netball. And in saying that, we will have another program in Wellington, and so that netball program will also run, and she'll also be basically in charge of that also. So she's got a good role, and we're really excited about working with her. And you know, we've already had quite a few meetings with her, and the enthusiasm coming from her is fantastic.
To your weather update now. Tonight we find with northeasterlies and an overnight low of 14. Tomorrow Wednesday, rain developing, strengthening northeasterlies, a high of 18 and a low of 15. And looking out to Thursday, rain some heavy with strong northeasterlies, a high of 20 and a low of 15. And the marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Wednesday, northeast rising to 15 knots late in the morning with waves less than half a metre, drizzle turning to rain in the morning with poor visibility. Still to come tonight on City News, we meet local businesswoman Sue Abbott. RDC Building Services Manager Daryl Holder has news for CBD building owners, and Alan Solomon talks business with Chamber of Commerce CEO Roger Gordon.
Well, if you're a fish and chip fan just like I am and like to spend your Friday nights going around the local fish and chip bars and finding the best fish and chips, we've got a good story for you today. We're down here at the King Size Burger Bar with Sue Abbott, who has got a great story for us, haven't you, Sue?
Yes.
Now, you've just been highly recommended by the Chip Group as one of the best fish and chip shops in town, so pretty good recommendation and pretty good award to win.
Oh, absolutely. I'm stoked.
Yeah. So what sort of things were they looking for when they called you up, or did you call them?
I went to the Bidvest Festival and they asked me, I saw the lady, and Kate, and she asked me if I'd like to go in it this year. And I hummed and hawed and I thought, yeah, why not? Give it a go.
Now, is this the first time you've entered, or have you been asked to enter before, Sue?
I have been asked on several occasions, and I've decided that I didn't want to because I thought we had to get votes and, you know, quite a bit involved in it, online training, and I don't have a computer. But this year, when I went to Bidvest Festival and saw Kate, she's such a lovely person, I thought, I'll give it a go. And she came in with her computer and we did the online training.
Wow.
And I had to have a letter written out from a friend, from a person who's been coming for the same amount of time I've been here.
And how long's that, Sue?
32, coming up 33.
Oh, so you've been in business here in the same
I haven't owned it. We've owned it 20 years, my partner and I, Trevor Murfitt. And he's out now. He's working at wastewater treatment. And so it's just fairly me and the staff, and he comes in at nights and weekends and all the other odd jobs that he does. Yes. And I just didn't sort of really feel that I wanted the stress of going into things like that. But anyway, I had to write a letter to say why we wanted to go into it, and Peter wrote a nice letter, and so I thought, well, that's it. And then I got a letter back a few weeks later, might have been a month later, from the Heart Foundation. Could I send 12 of my best chips to the Heart Foundation? So I thought, oh well, okay, we'll go for that.
So what's the difference between your best chips and your normal chips that you serve your
they're
customers?
all good chips. They're all good chips, but it said that on the letter. So I boxed up 12 chips, sent them away, and I thought, oh well, this is it. And then I heard again that I had won a highly commended certificate.
Wow.
And that I was the only one in Rotorua, and I was absolutely rapt.
Oh, that's fantastic news.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, you've been in business here 32 years, you and your partner. Have you seen any changes in the business in that time? Because that's a long time to be in business here in Rotorua.
Oh, this year's been quite a struggle,
yeah.
But years gone by, you know, we've always got our regulars coming in, and but there's not quite so many tourists. We've got backpackers all around us, and we get a lot of them. And I've got to know quite a few people, and they come back when they come back to Rotorua, and it's quite neat. I had one guy come from Canada, and he said that he'd been recommended by someone who'd been in here and said, if you go to Rotorua, come to this little shop. Yeah.
It's got word of mouth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, just across the road is the new police station. It's going to be built, obviously, finished very shortly. How often do the police come over here? Are they into your burgers? I know you've got a stag burger that's pretty popular.
Oh, the custody department like our chips. There's one particular person there who likes his chips underdone, so it's pretty good really, because the regular customers, I know what they're going to order, so if we're really busy, I'll quickly sneak it on, and because I know they've got to get back to work.
Now, I've heard good things about this burger, your stag burger. So what's so special about the stag burger?
Well, it's got Scotch fillet, steak, bacon, egg, onion and mushroom, and lettuce and beetroot and tomato sauce.
Now, you mentioned, Sue, when you sent the chips off to the Heart Foundation, what were they looking for when they were assessing the chips that you'd sent them?
They were looking for the fat content, how much fat soaks into the chips, and mine were pretty good apparently, so that's, yes.
So I'm guessing anything around about 9 or 10% would be considered healthy?
9% or under, yes.
Oh, and you were spot on, were you?
Well, I'm not sure what the percentage is, but it's under 9%, yes.
So what do you think this means to your business and also to your staff? Because obviously you've got staff here that work hard. Was it quite rewarding for them as well when you told them?
Oh yes, definitely, yes. Everybody was happy about that. We cook our chips in the right temperature, and we drain them well, shake and bang them and what have you, and yes, they're usually pretty good. We've had a lot of feedback from our customers that we've got good chips, so it just goes to show with having this certificate that they're right.
Now, apart from your traditional fish and chips, Sue, are your clients quite big on seafood as well?
We have a lot of people asking for mussels. At the moment we can't supply oysters, and they like our scallops, they're quite big.
Yeah, where do you get those from? Because I know Southland have the best oysters in town.
The oysters, usually we get them from Bidvest or Provider Foods, but they come in frozen.
Now, talking about all this fish and chips, Sue's making me hungry, and it's almost lunchtime, so I think, can we make an order with you?
Yes,
All right, cool.
can.
I'd like to try the stag burger, so I'll get 2. I'm feeling peckish, so how about $4 chips?
Yes.
And what kind of fish do you do?
Southern blue whiting.
I'll grab 4 of those. And to finish off, how about 4 hot dogs?
And would you like sauce on those?
Definitely tomato sauce. And we better order something for Graham, our cameraman. So, what would you like, Graham?
I'll have one of those big stag burgers, thanks.
Oh, so we're going to have 3.
Yeah, that was all just for me. Well, if there was a major earthquake to hit our city, would the buildings in the CBD be able to withstand it? Well, the council had taken the first steps to find that out, and with me today from the council is Building Services Manager Daryl Holder. Thanks for joining us today, Daryl. Now, obviously, if there was a big earthquake like there was in Christchurch, would the city be able to handle it?
Well, I guess that information's not yet known to us. We've, like I say, we've taken the first steps to identifying buildings that need further assessment by an engineer. Our process does not identify whether a building is earthquake prone, but rather picks out those buildings constructed pre-1976, which is when the structural design standards changed, and then have an engineer have a look at them, and then they will come up with a score against new building standard.
Now, you've just sent out 1,300 letters to the various owners around town to find out about their buildings. Obviously, they've got to get an independent engineer to come in. Are they going to be local engineers or people from around the Bay of Plenty or right around the country? Because that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and we've actually recognised that and liaised with the local engineers who say they don't necessarily have enough capacity. So what council has done is it's gone around the Bay of Plenty and Waikato region and collected a list of engineers that work in this field, and that's published on our website so that building owners won't be disadvantaged by the short supply, because Christchurch is also soaking up a lot of resource at the moment.
Now the process is underway, the leaders have gone out. When do the engineers need to get in? What's the time frame that all this needs to be completed?
Our process is based on risk, so buildings will have different risk attributes according to its current usage or how a building's constructed. So they have a range of time frames. So if it's nominated as a high-risk building, they have 1 year in which to obtain an engineer's report, and then a further 5 years to do something about it if it is deemed to be earthquake prone once that information's received. So if it's medium risk, 2 years in which to provide a report, and then a further 10 years to take any mitigating action, and low risk buildings are 3 years to provide a report and then 15 years to mitigate the risk.
Now, you mentioned the different levels of risk. Is there any in town that you know of that are potentially at that high risk already?
There's approximately 60 in the high risk category, and the medium and low risk are split evenly, approximately 650 per category.
So what sort of factors are these engineers looking for when they're assessing a building?
Well, I guess to start with is establishing when the building was constructed, because the standards evolve over time, especially with the likes of events throughout the world and the likes of Christchurch. Well, then the engineers take on board what's happened to buildings. So over time those standards increase. So the age, so something like 1935 will be far weaker than something, say, in 1970. But it's essentially buildings pre-76, but they will be looking for what information's held on property files or plans that are available to see how the buildings were reinforced and any critical weaknesses.
So the engineers aren't actually looking just at the building, but they're also going through the council file as well?
Yes, we have made the council files available to the building owners, so we've burnt in excess of 1,300 DVDs and sent those out with the letters, so so that it helps kickstart the process so people don't have to come in then and wait for a disc. So.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the different timeframes and different years that the buildings are made. How about the new police station here? It's going to be finished in 2014. Obviously, new standards and higher standards. What's different about that building compared to something like the Zen Centre or even the TV Rotorua building that's a little bit older?
Yeah, well, this building behind us will be constructed to meet the building code, so it'll be 100% of new building standards, and it'll also have some additional ratings because it's going to have to perform after an event. So critical buildings like the hospitals and police stations are built to a lot higher standard than, say, your commercial buildings or your buildings in the CBD. But essentially all that the building owners need to do is get their existing buildings to a third of the new building standard.
Yep.
So they don't have to be brought up to 100%, but in excess of 33% compared to a building built today.
Now, obviously, this is a central government initiative. Is there any funding coming from the government to help city councils, to help owners, obviously around the country, to do things like this?
There's nothing available at the moment. I know there's been submissions to government on this, how they could help in that space, but I think that's under review. There is also going to be some tweaks to the legislation as a result of the Canterbury Royal Commission after the earthquakes down there, and I guess that will be an opportunity then for building owners to submit on those changes, and that could be one of the submission points that they can make.
Looking at the big picture, Daryl, once all the engineers have gone through, once all the restructuring or anything that needs to be fixed is done, what sort of time frame are we looking at long term?
Well, our maximum time frame's 18 years by the time you get to a low-risk building, where you get your engineering assessment and then do the mitigation work, strengthening whatever needs to be done. But our policy is a bit flexible in that if people have got multiple buildings, that we will work with them for the best outcomes. So we're not going to be fixed on that term where it's going to be impossible to achieve those goals.
Big goal, 18 years. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Daryl.
All right, thank you.